Hello and welcome to St Mary's Church in Woodnewton. Begun in the 12th century, this church has seen some major alterations and restorations in virtually every century. The tower is mostly 17th century and appears to have been built on the foundations of an earlier, possibly 14th century one. This west wall has lancet windows and some of the oldest stonework that remains in the church. The original tower was rebuilt in the 16th century and the 13th century porch was remodelled in 1662, as you can see by the date. The porch is mid-13th century with an arch decorated with dogtooth moulding. The three coffin lids on display are early 13th century and show the omega ornament. Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet and represents the final part of life. In the 14th century, a north transept arcade and aisle were built to balance the 13th century ones on the south side. An interesting feature of this south nave are the pillars with their Norman stone-headed ornaments. This little fellow with his interesting expression is a delightful cherub, possibly added around 1940. The present organ chamber, created in 1910, was built on the site of the north transept. The chancel arch was rebuilt and extended eastwards in the 13th century. 200 years later, the present and unusually thin arch was reconstructed. When being rebuilt, the arch was narrowed and changed from a pointed to a rounded headed opening. On the far side of the Lady Chapel here is another 13th century piscina with a round-headed recess, now used to house the ormgry. When town cemeteries were too far to carry the coffin on shoulders, this wheeled bier would have been used. Here is the font. It's a good example of a 12th century piece of masonry. It has an irregular octagonal shape and is decorated with an incised cross on the west face. St Mary's Church in Woodnewton.